Hi, this is Krista from Pivot, and today I want to walk you through the settings section of HubSpot Workflows. As you can see, I have a workflow open up on my screen. This is a very basic workflow, and that's okay. I'm not concerned so much about what this workflow is, more so about just walking you through settings. Because irregardless of the type of workflow you have created, whether it's for a drip campaign to send out marketing emails to your prospects or your customers, or if it's an internal process workflow, the kind that I like to say make the magic happen, how you set up a workflow and the settings are going to be the same. So we're going to click on the settings tab, and there's three sections within there. The first is general. This is when you can choose what time of day or what day you want the workflow to trigger. If it's a very specific workflow, you can have it set on just a specific day or days. I tend to have my nurture workflows go Monday through Friday and sometime in the realm of normal working hours. If it's a process workflow where it's just changing some sort of properties or doing anything else, I let that be at any time. I always make sure that I assign a campaign to the workflow as well. The unenrollment and suppression section, I think, is the most important part of this because this is how you're dictating what contacts are going to do when they're a part of this workflow. So for the first section where it says when contacts are enrolled in this workflow, I always keep it checked at do not remove them from other workflows. Because if you do remove a contact from another workflow, HubSpot will not re-enroll them back into those workflows that you removed them from. So it is okay to have contacts that could be enrolled in multiple workflows. It's not going to hurt their anything about them being in a CRM if they're in multiple workflows. Chances are most of the workflows that people would be involved in are some sort of process workflow that has been updating properties for them. So leave it at do not remove them from other workflows. For the next section, when a contact no longer meets the enrollment conditions, remove them from this workflow. I always like to keep it on no, keep them in the workflow. Now, unless your workflow is very specific and it is very short, you could choose to remove them from the workflow. But the reason why I say to keep them in the workflow is because if they have initially enrolled and met the enrollment trigger for the workflow, there's a reason for that. And then you want them to be able to take the steps in that workflow to make some changes to their contact record typically, or, to send them some sort of notification, whatever the case may be. So there have been times where if a workflow has delays of hours or days, and then your contact no longer meets the enrollment conditions, if you have them marked as yes, remove them from the workflow, they will be pulled out of the workflow before they actually complete all the steps. And chances are, if they've gotten pulled into that workflow in the first place, you want them to continue on through those steps. So that's why I recommend you say no, keep them in the workflow. There is always going to be some one-offs of why you wouldn't, but for the most part, go ahead and keep them in the workflow. When it comes to when two contacts are merged, should the newly created contact enroll in the workflow if they meet the trigger criteria? I am of the opinion to say yes, because if you have a contact that was in your CRM twice, perhaps they were under their business email address and also their personal email address, go ahead and merge the two contact records together. But if within that merge, something about that says, hey, they now qualify for this workflow, I would say that yes, you would want them to be enrolled in the workflow. So you would go ahead and say yes. But if you don't want to, if you want to keep contacts as they are, whether they've been merged or not, you can have it stay at no. If you have any suppression list, which is your blacklist, exclusion list, whatever that may be, you can go ahead and add them to the workflow. Typically, those aren't used in process workflows too much. It's more so when you're doing your drip campaigns and nurturing your contacts and prospects. That may be when you want to include a suppression list to exclude certain people from being enrolled in the workflow. The last section of settings is notifications, and this is a fairly new feature that HubSpot has rolled out, which is great because you can have members on your team get internal email notifications every Friday at 10 a.m. if there is an increase or a decrease in your week-over-week enrollment rates for that workflow. Typically, this is not something that I would turn on for an internal process workflow, but this could be very good for some of your drip campaign nurture workflows that are going out to your contacts and prospects or whoever else you're emailing. So you can adjust these rates and make them be whatever you want. And then you make sure you hit save if you do adjust them. So then if that happens, that there is an increase or a decrease of, let's say, 50%, I put myself in here to get an email notification. And I will get that notification if there is that change. If you have teams set up in your HubSpot portal, you can certainly choose the team, and all the users that are a part of that team would get that email notification as well. So that is a quick walkthrough of the settings tab of workflows in HubSpot. If you have any questions, you can always reach the Pivot team on Twitter. You can find us at Pivot SLC, or you can come to our website at pivot.marketing. Thank you.